Anita Pupazzi entered the waiting room. Allow. لا، ما زال مشتاق. Two people entered the. Not myself.
فاكر الصبر يعني
امم
ما بعرفش كيف
امم
و ما بفتح
Hello, Miriam. Miriam, can you hear me?
Yep, Batul. I can hear you perfectly.
Amazing. So, how does it usually work? You need to give me now a co-host privileges. So, go to my name, three dots that are
Okay,
beside my name, and give me a co-host.
okay.
Okay. And okay, so Anita at the net, and we're gonna make Anita a co-host. Can you make Anita a co-host, please?
Okay.
Hi, Anita, how are you?
Hello, Batul, how are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Hello.
Hello.
So Anita, this is Miriam. Miriam is an intern in Jordan, and she will be a fellow in Jordan Youth Innovation Forum, and she will be joining our live sessions to help out with the technical support.
Hello and welcome. Nice to meet you.
Hello, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Okay, amazing. Miriam, can you please make Anita a co-host?
I think I already did that.
When
I'll
you're
do it
ready,
again.
please.
Okay,
I am a co-host now, I can see. Thank you.
pleasure.
Okay. Before starting, Anita, Zoe, do you need to share anything just to make sure that all of the technicalities are okay?
Yeah, I can try to share my screen. Let's see. Mhm. Can you see my screen?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you also like see the, how to say, like the video of the Zoom call or just the PowerPoint?
Mm,
Like this.
No, we see
no.
both. We see the PowerPoint and then on top we see the participants.
Like the line. Okay. But do you
Mm-hmm.
see also my video with your faces or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it. Okay. So nothing. I will hide it. But yeah, the important thing I can share. Okay.
I'll quickly share my screen if you could just test the Mentimeter I have. Um, I did test it before, I think it's fine.
Okay, guys, you can let me know now when we can start admitting people. Believe that we can start.
Maybe before admit Christina Tekovic because she's also presenting today. So maybe if she has to
Yeah, I'm gonna
check
admit her.
if something
Christina?
and yes.
Okay. Miriam, can you hear us?
Yep, Batul, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah,
I
can you
just
please make Christina a co-host, please? I just admitted her.
okay. Just a second.
Hi, Chris.
Hi everyone. Hi. Sorry.
Hello.
I guess my microphone was on. Sorry.
No worries. How are you?
I'm good. What about you?
Doing well, doing well. Good
Excited.
feelings for the last session.
Yeah,
Yay.
that's what I was saying.
Okay. Everyone is a co-host. Everyone is good to go. So should we start admitting people now?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Miriam, please start with admitting people.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we can start, or if few people are still joining, I think we
Okay.
can start anyways. Yeah.
Okay, I just admitted 2 other people and welcome everyone to the Youth Living Labs project. This is going to be the final live session. Thank you so much for being with us on the journey. And this is a gentle reminder that the session will be recorded. So if you're not comfortable or you don't admit to being in the recording, then please shut off your cameras and please make sure that your camera is off. This is going to be recorded for M&E purposes. Thank you. أهلين جميعا يعطيكم العافية. هاي راح تكون آخر سيشن باليوث ليفينج لابس بروجكت، وهالسيشن راح تكون مسجلة لأغراض المراجعة والتقييم. فإذا بتفضلوا إنه ما تظهروا بالريكوردينج فرجاء سكروا الكاميرات وشكرا. And we can start. Dear partners, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I will share my screen. Hope you can see it. Let's see. Okay. Can you see my screen? Then I can't see you, so
Yes.
okay, perfect. Okay, so hello and welcome again to the fourth and final live session of the Youth Living Labs project. So as it's already been introduced, today we are gonna deal with our fourth and final training program, which is about technical skills. So basically, after 3 weeks where we've been dealing with introspective, extrospective, and interactive skills, today we go to the practice. Basically, it's this week also during your self-paced work into the platform, you will deal with your skills, shaping, action, finally. Before starting, well, I will first of all share with you today's agenda for you to know how we're gonna organize the following hour or hour and a half. Maybe we will end a little earlier today. Let's see. So now we will make this little introduction. I will make you do a very quick activity, and then we will jump in the presentation of the 3 modules of the fourth training program. And at the end, as usual, we will leave some space for your questions if you have any. And also, very important, we can give you support if you are still having problems with the registration process in the Youth Living Lab platform. In fact, before starting with activity or the presentations, I remind you that it is mandatory for you to register into the platform and go through all the training programs, all the self-paced material. And today, since it's our last live session, it's a very great opportunity if you're still having problems with the inscription. Also, Anita, that is responsible for the Youth Living Lab platform, is here with us, so she can give you assistance in real time. So take this opportunity if you're having problem with that. And also another important communication, if you people that are participating today, if you were unable to attend the previous live sessions in the previous 3 weeks, we will send a link to all the participants to be able to watch the live session and actually all the material of the Youth Living Labs in a specific Youth Living Lab YouTube channel. And I remind you that also this is mandatory. Participating to the live session or at least go through the material of the live session is also mandatory for the program. So be aware of this, and in case you didn't see the previous live sessions, we will send you everything. So, as I was anticipating, we will make now a little activity. After 3 weeks where we dealt with introspective, extrospective, and interactive skills and this kind of perspective. Today, since we are dealing with technical skills, we want to know a little more about your background. So you can already scan this QR code and you can tell us about your field of study, your professional background, any skill or experience that you think it's relevant. Because of course, we want to get practical this week, and also we want to collect this information. We want to get a sense of what's in the room today, basically. And of course, this is going to be also relevant for the following phase of the Youth in Living Lab project for the following year, when you will connect with the companies. And of course, we want everything to be aligned and meaningful. So I think you had the time to scan these codes. I will present real time your answers. If you weren't able to scan the codes, there's also these number codes, 3648, this one, 7032. So please start answering to the question and we will see. Okay, perfect. I will let you 1 minute more or less and we can check the answers. Okay, so the first answers are arriving. We have an engineer, a Jordanian teacher, and Palestinian dialects. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Agriculture, design. Okay. European studies. Okay, I can see already a very differentiated computer science, geological engineering. Yeah. A lot of engineers. Okay, okay, okay. Another language teacher, this time English, and a translator, interpreter. Thank you very much for sharing this. It's gonna be very useful for us, for sure, and very interesting to see also what we are having today here. Agricultural science again, another language teacher, so Egyptian translator, passionate about volunteering, very nice. Senior student at the Faculty of Agriculture, so agriculture is a very common field, I see. Sales and marketing, entrepreneurship coach, okay. We'll just let you few more seconds, then we will start with the presentation. So if you're writing your answer, please send it as soon as possible. But thank you very much. It's very nice to say all this. Okay, I think that we can go back to our presentation. Thank you very much for sharing your background or interest with us. And so yeah, I can see that we have a very different backgrounds in the room, and I'm very happy about it. So yeah, let's jump in the presentation of the first module of this fourth and final training program. Module 1 is about visibility and social media, and more specifically about building authenticity and authentic digital communication strategies. So this first module, you will see it in the self-paced material on the website, is focused on being real online, basically being more intentional when making decisions about your online presence. So let's start by looking at the learning objectives of this first module. So by the end of this week, when you will be done with module number 1, you will have understood the basic structure of a digital communication strategy, first of all. So what are the elements that compose a strategy in digital communication and why every element matters and how to connect to each other. Secondly, you will be helped in identifying your core message and your target audience. So in other words, what you want to say and who you want to tell it to. And finally, very, very important, you will understand better how to match these goals, so your message and your public, with the right channels. So the importance of matching your goals with the right social media platform to communicate your message in the most efficient and effective way possible. To start, I think it's important to look at the difference between traditional communication and digital communication. I'm sure that these are things that you already know and that you're already very conscious about, but I think it's important to mention it. So traditional communication, as you know, involves the exchange of information, ideas, emotions through elements that are, let's say, more traditional. So spoken words, body language, written letters. So traditional communication often relies on the physical presence of the interlocutors, and also it's based on real-time interaction most times. So we can say that it's a communication that is limited by distance and time, because, for instance, you wouldn't be able to quickly share a speech with thousands and thousands of people across different countries or even continents without a broadcast media. So by contrast, digital communication uses technology platforms. So we have emails, social media, messaging apps, video calls, all elements that allow you to transmit messages instantly and anywhere in the world. So digital communication allows for both synchronous and asynchronous interactions, which means that you can have both real-time and delayed conversations and interaction in general. So another element also that is really important about digital communication is the integration, the mix of multiple media types. So you can have at the same time text, audio, images, videos, which make you create richer, more engaging, and more persuasive messages. So for example, the same idea, if transmitted digitally, can combine, I don't know, a short video, a quote, visual infographic to make it more impressive, more engaging for your public than a letter alone, for example. So basically, what I wanted to start it with is by saying you that the shift from traditional communication to digital communication is way more than just speed in the conversations, but it's about how we construct meaning, it's about how we influence perception, and also how we create engagement. And I think that to get the sense also of the importance of communication nowadays, this quotation of sociologist Manuel Castells is pretty relevant. And he says in this work, Networks of Outrage and Hope, in the network society, power is primarily exercised through the construction of meaning in the human mind via processes of communication. So basically, communication is essential to power in nowadays, where most of our life, most of our communication is online. We have access to a lot of information and then can be used by power in a very effective way. So I think that this is something to keep in mind for both sides, whether if you are the person communicating to your target or if you are the one receiving the communication. So also to do it in an ethical and critical way. So let's start with the main topic of this module. So what is exactly digital communication strategy? At its core, digital communication and digital communication strategy is a planned approach and a purposeful approach to communicating online. And this is used by individuals, businesses, organizations that want to, of course, have a strategy. So you need to think ahead, understand your objectives, make deliberate decisions about what you say, when you want to say it, and how you want to say it. Because, of course, it's not only about posting content constantly and in a reactive way. It's about the quality of the content, it's about the relevance of it, its meaning, and of course, with a clear plan beforehand. So each post that you make, for example, should serve a broader purpose and your overarching goals. So a well-crafted digital communication strategy helps you achieve a variety of objectives. Here I listed some of them. I think they are the main ones. You may want to increase your visibility, or you may want to build relationships and trust with your target audience. You may need a digital communication strategy to promote your services or your products, or even you can use digital communication to have engagement from your public and make concrete calls to action. So basically, you can think about a digital communication strategy as your roadmap for your online presence. So you should use it to give you direction and, of course, to build a profile and your communication in a very coherent and intentional way. Because, of course, without a strategy, you may be reactive in your content creation and posting. You may even copy maybe what others are doing without really thinking about your own goals. But of course, in order to be more powerful and meaning in your communication, you need a strategy. You need to be intentional. You need to think ahead of what you want to do and how you want to do it. So to make it more concrete, let's take two examples that are the two main strategies that we can witness in digital communication. So we have brand awareness on one side and advocacy and awareness campaigns on the other. So talking about brand awareness strategy, here the goal is pretty simple. You basically want your brand or your name to be known. So here the main tactics could be maintaining a consistent social media presence, creating viral or highly shareable content on social media. You may want to collaborate with other brands or with the creators. You may use a SEO to improve your online discoverability, or even running online ads for it. Here, for example, you can think about a startup using Instagram and TikTok to build its visibility. So here, the startup might post short and visually engaging videos that tell the story of the brand, that highlight their products, and that show their company culture. And here, a good strategy will make every post reinforcing the brand identity, inviting the audience to connect with it, of course. Then on the other side, we have advocacy and awareness campaign strategy, where the aim is mostly to raise awareness and mobilize support for a cause. So here tactics can vary a little bit. We can have social storytelling, for example, which is the sharing of real life experiences to resonate more emotionally with the public, which is very effective. And you may create partnerships with influencers. And this is very helpful because you leverage on these individuals that are already connected with target audience, and you can amplify your message more easily. Or even you can create hashtag campaigns which encourage the public to reshare your content, so participate and be more engaged with the cause that you're sharing. So in this case, a concrete example could be an NGO launching a campaign, for example, a climate justice campaign on Instagram, and the NGO will share visuals, testimonies, maybe collaborative posts with other organizations, and in this way, the organization will raise awareness, will attract supporters, and inspire action. Here in successful stories, we have the individual engagement turned into a collective movement. So basically, from this introduction, I think that you're already understanding that a very important question that should guide your decisions online would be also to ask yourself, what do you want people to see online about you? So you need to have clear what is your objective, what are your goals. So here, to guide this decision, you can ask yourself, if someone Google my name, what would be the thing that you want them to see? So you need to ask yourself if you want to showcase your skills or portfolio, if you want to share the positive impact of a project that you're working on, or if you want to share something more personal about your values or your stories. Okay, and now let's turn to the effective application of social media in digital communication, because of course social media play a central role in digital communication and on how we want to build our digital communication strategy. We can continue keeping brand communication and political and civic engagement as main examples, and starting with marketing and brand communication, it's important to remember that we live nowadays in what we call an attention economy, where everyone from multinational brands to individual creators are all competing for people's attention. Because in today's society, attention has become one of the most valuable currencies online. So to capture that, brands must do way more than just posting content. They need to communicate, and in ways that are memorable, relevant, meaningful for the public, and most of all, authentic and real. So here you can use several key strategies for brand marketing, brand communication. So we have, again, I will repeat myself a little bit, but these are very effective and important elements for digital communication. So we have visual storytelling, for example, which is really, really effective because it simplifies complex ideas into content that can be easily understood, that is visually appealing and also emotionally engaging. Because here the aim is to make the audience feel your message and not only read it, for example. Then we have the creation of brand communities, which goes beyond the individual post, with successful brands creating spaces where their audience can feel connected, can feel seen, and that can interact with each other and feel part of something bigger. And here examples are the creation of online groups, discussion forums, interactive campaigns that are really useful if you want to turn your consumers from simple consumers to advocates for your brand. And finally, as I was already saying before, another useful tool is using influencers. And so we have the so-called influencer marketing that leverages on the trust and the reach of these people that are already connected to the public, to a specific part of the audience that you want to reach. So by collaborating with influencers, you can reach new communities and also in a very relatable way. And for this part, I think it's important to remember that all these tactics work, but they cannot work without authenticity, consistency, and ethical responsibility, because basically the public is not stupid. Audiences are highly perceptive. They can detect very easily if the messages that you're sharing are forced, they are not honest and sincere, or even if they are manipulative. So you need to be transparent, honest, and consistent in order to build trust. Then on the other side, we have political and civic engagement, and the use of social media, of course, have transformed political communication. We know it very well. And of course, a positive thing is that social media allows for both top-down communication and bottom-up and grassroots activism. Because, of course, from the top, leaders, institutions, political parties, even organizations can talk directly with the citizens and without being filtered by traditional communication media. And also from the bottom up, social media helped a lot the organization of grassroots organizations. There's a process of empowerment of citizens that can organize themselves and mobilize support way easier, and also challenge mainstream narratives this way and share their social issues and amplify them through social media. So of course, these platforms are very useful, a very important tool, but the thing to remember here is that there are also here limitations, and social media cannot guarantee a long-term structural impact if you don't have a clear and strong strategy. Because if you don't have a careful strategy, if you don't have a sustained engagement, and if you're not authentic enough, this movement risk fading away as quickly as they emerged, basically. So you need the planning, follow through, and a very deep understanding of both the digital landscape and the audience that you're trying to reach. Okay. So to wrap up all this discourse about visibility and social media, as you could understand, and I hope that I stressed it enough, authenticity is core to communication, to an effective communication and a meaningful communication, online and offline, to be honest. I mean, here we are dealing with visibility on social media, so it's about digital communication, but it's something that you can take into consideration also in your daily life, I believe. For what concerns authentic communication, as you can see from this short presentation, and you will see it way better in the self-paced module, the three pillars that are interconnected here are audience, message, and channel. So identifying who you want to talk to, what you want to say, and what is the right channel to do it. So basically, to sum up, digital communication is strategic, is societal in its impact, and really personal, because of course the core characteristics of a good digital communication strategy are authenticity, is the alignment between your goals, the audience, and the right platform, and of course ethical practice, so being ethical in your behavior online. And you will understand how the way in which you communicate online matters as much, and sometimes I'm afraid to say a little more than what you want to communicate, because you have to be aware of what you're doing and the way you are communicating. So I will stop here because I'm running out of time. I thank you very much for your attention, and I will stop sharing my screen so I can leave the floor to Anita for the second module. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Zoe. Hello, everyone, for me as well. I will quickly start sharing my screen. So everyone, I think, can see my screen now. Okay, so welcome everyone to the people that haven't been with us before, and hello again to the people that have. My name again is Anita Bopazzi, and I'm a project and networking manager at the Institute of Entrepreneurship. Today we will go through the training program 4, which is the technical skills that Zoe already did an introduction on, and we will get more into the managing of the budget and the fundraising. So this is just an overview of what this module is about. So it has been divided into 4 lessons. Again, everything that we're presenting can be found on the platform, so you can go there and find the live sessions and the lessons that I'm gonna break out now. So the first lesson will cover the budget basics, which is what is a budget, what are the key elements, why is the budgeting of any project or your company, or either if you're a freelancer freelancer important. Some common mistakes that you should avoid when doing a budget. And we will go through some examples of what a youth project budgets could look like. Then we will give you some guidelines on how to create your own budget. Then, as always, you have a small activity, a mini case example, the summary, and a small deliverable, which it's just for you to have more of a practice on what you have learned during that lesson. Then the second lesson will provide to you the main types of funding sources. So what is available for you based on your company or your work for you to get some funding on that, how to choose which is the right source for you. Then we will give you some real life examples. Then it's basically more of an exercise, so building a funding mix, which the lesson 2 will give you more information on this, but just to, explain it a bit to you is when you use more than one funding source. This is what a funding mix is. Then again, you have your activity, an example, the summary, and again, the deliverable. Then you have lesson 3 and 4. In lesson 3 is how to use networking and online engagement for fundraising. So how you should do your fundraising strategy, the power of storytelling and fundraising. So the combination of these two. Zoe gave you already an introduction into this, but this will, let's say, put together the storytelling and the fundraising. What makes a good pitch? So what tips you should follow and what layout you should follow in order to get someone to believe in what you're doing and fund you for that. Then we will have their example activity, I guess, again, a mini case example, the summary and the deliverable. And the last lesson of the funding and budgeting module is the financial responsibility and transparency in youth projects. This will cover what exactly financial responsibility is, how you should track any income and expenses, how accountability for everything builds trust with either people you work with within your organization or with meeting new people, common mistakes in managing funds, reporting your finances, and then some case example, which is an example of how being responsible looks like and what being irresponsible looks like. And then that will be followed by an activity, a mini case example, and a lesson summary and deliverable. So today we will just go through an overview of the role of budgeting and fundraising in different youth projects. Then we will go into depth into not so much depth as the lesson, but identifying different concepts such as income, expense, balance, and funding sources. Recognize the importance of financial responsibility and planning, and how to prepare your own budget outline and for a simple project that you might have in mind. So we need to understand the importance of financial plan. If you don't have your plan laid out from the beginning, then at some point you're gonna miss out on something. And when we're talking financially, that's a bigger risk because you either have your own money invested in that or you have other people's money. So either way, it's a very big risk. So in order to avoid, let's say, having this risk, you should plan beforehand and make sure that everything you're planning to do has a budget, has been thought about, or you have external budgets in case something goes wrong. So as it says here, in order for a great idea to work, you need a plan. So you never want to be faced with any unexpected challenges. So planning avoids that. And some of those challenges could be, again, running out of money, overspending on minor items, or not covering essentials, and then losing trust from the funders or your sponsors. So on the next slide, if you could just quickly scan this, I would like to know what are 3 things that you think a financial plan should include. So when someone tells you you need to make your financial plan, what do you think are the 3 things that should be included in that? I will also send the link for you in the chat in case you cannot access it through the QR code. And then just say what you think. There's no right or wrong, because this is just an introduction. We just want to know, what do you have in mind? What do you think these three main things would be? Yeah, I will share this with you so you can all see. Funding, budget, and capital, yes. Cash flow, cost, revenue. That's great. Income, teamwork, expenses. Profit, material, savings. Well done to everyone. You're already ahead of the material. So well done. Costs, equity, assets, risk management. Yes, this is exactly what we were doing, what we were saying, because, budgeting is, of course, a huge risk when you're doing something on your own. Just allow a few more minutes because I can see more people are trying to put their answers. Schedule, timeline, yes, of course. Always having a plan B in case something goes wrong, because you never know whether that's internal or external factors. Okay. So thank you, everyone. And well done. It looks like everyone is already aware of the financial aspects of what having something on your own is. So we'll quickly go back to the presentation. So what are the key concepts of this module? The question I asked you is answered here. So a budget is a plan showing you your expected income and expenses. So the three most important things to include is your income. So money that you're planning on receiving in, whether that's through funding, personal savings, or just maybe fundraising or receiving a grant. Then you have expenses, so it's the cost for running your project, whether just that is for materials, whether that's for the people that are gonna have to work with you, so you're gonna have to pay salaries for that, or maybe renting an office, or any other, maybe you need to do some events for this. And then you have your balance. So your balance is what you do when you minus the income. You have your income and then you minus your expenses. So what is left when all your expenses have been covered, what's actually the left within the company, let's say, or within you. So why planning matters? As we said before, we want to avoid having any, whether that's surprises in delays in payments, in the timeline that you said something would be delivered, having any external, let's say, additional resources that need to spend more money on. You need to make informed decisions. You have to gain credibility with the people you're working on, as well as if you have any investors or people giving you money, so you are able to do what you have in mind for your project, and then maximizing the impact you have. So again, this is just planning from the beginning and writing down all the incomes that you're gonna have, and not to forget to mention all the expenses that you're gonna have. Then we have 4 different types of funding. Through the lessons of this module, you will go more into depth regarding this, but the general sections are grants, donations, sponsorships, and fundraising events. So donations, grants are money that maybe you have gotten from, let's say, a project from the EU, and then they give you some money, but you need to meet some, let's say, expectations, some deadlines. So there the timeline and requirements are a bit more strict. Then you have donations, which are not supposed to given back to the people that gives them to you. So either that's a company giving you a donation or people giving you a donation. Then you have sponsorships, which usually that could be a company could come to you and gives an amount of money to you, and then they'll ask for for them maybe some advertising, so you would advertise them during your events or on social media campaigns. And then you have fundraising events. This can be done from you, so maybe doing an event where you're raising money to do this specific project, or to raise awareness for a specific let's say it might even be, raising awareness. I'm saying this because it's the upcoming session we have, raising awareness for HIV. So maybe you're fundraising that to get some more money to do some research on that. So anything that might include. And then now this is just an activity for you to have once our live session is. You should maybe do a rough budget outline for a small project that you might have in mind. This doesn't need to be something very big. So start small, so in order for you to understand the thinking behind this, and then you can go into something more, let's say, bigger. You could start with simply maybe organizing an event. That could be your small project. So what would be the 5 expenses that you would have? Maybe that would be renting a place for you to do that, getting all the materials that are gonna need it, maybe food, drinks, maybe having people help, maybe giving leaflets, so that would be an expense for you to do the leaflets, or maybe giving some small presents at the end. So you should identify potential income sources. So how are you gonna fund this small event? Do you have some savings? Are you gonna get some sponsorships? If you're gonna get those sponsorships, maybe they will ask for in return for you to advertise them. So maybe you would have a leaflet of the specific company advertising them, and then you would have to estimate the total balance. So the minimum you should always aim for is for the income and expense to match. You never want to have more expenses than what your income is. Ideally, of course, you would have more income than expenses, but aiming to at least cover the expenses is the ideal way to go. And then just a quick and general question for everyone. This is just mostly feedback for us for the project, is because we understand we have a lot of people from different sectors We have had from sciences, we have project managers, we have engineers, we have marketing, teachers. So we just want to get some more information. I was glad to see with the people that connected with me on LinkedIn that you're very active on social media and sharing your projects and your progress in your career. So it was good to see that. So our question now is, what company sector would you be interested in doing your internship in? So if we could get some feedback for everyone, this would be really helpful for us. I think you should be able to view them. I will also share the link in the chat. And then let's see. Also show this to you. For my presentation, this is it. So while we get everyone to maybe write a few answers regarding this section, if there is anyone that has any questions again regarding the platform, I want to emphasize how important it is to register into the platform, because after today's sessions, you won't have the chance. Of course, you can send me an email anytime. I have already provided my email before if you have any problems with the platform. If you haven't registered already, do so, because that's the only way you will go through all the lessons and then get your certification. So we have the youth sector, marketing companies, education, research, energy sector, teaching, youth work, translation companies, community development. We have a journalist here in the chat. Wait. I think this is everything from my side. I will keep this open, so if you have more, if something else comes up regarding the what sectors you would be interested in doing your internship in, feel free to add it, or even write it for us in the chat, just so we have that in mind. So thank you again, everyone. I will also write my email in the chat in case you have any questions regarding the platform. So feel free to send me an email. And I'll give the floor now to Christina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Anita. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I will start sharing my screen right now, so let me know. Okay, spoiler alert, that's for later. Okay. Let me see. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now it's loading. Okay, amazing. I'm Cristina and I'm from Instituto Ikigai, Spain. And welcome everybody to the third and last module of this online session, which is entitled, as you can see, Planning and Tools. Plan smart, work better. Today, we will explore together how to take control of your time, organize your work, and collaborate efficiently with your peers within a company or within your own project. Now, of course, this isn't about being super organized or following strict rules. It's rather about trying to find simple and practical strategies that will help you focus on what really matters and therefore feel less stressed in your studies, work, or personal projects. Think of this session as your toolkit for smarter, not harder work. And of course, the goal isn't to be perfect and to make you perfectly organized today. It's just to introduce you to some key concepts and techniques that you will later explore with more details on the platform. So, before we dive in, let's all take a deep breath. We're almost coming to an end of our session, and let's go. Here's what, can you see it moving the screen? Because I cannot see it move.
No, you're still on the first page.
Yeah. I will move it like this because if I put it full screen, it doesn't allow me to
Yeah.
move. So I hope you can see it well anyways.
Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So here's what you will take away from today. First and foremost, you will understand why planning reduces stress. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of studies that show how poor time management often leads to feeling overwhelmed, to miss deadlines, and of course, procrastination. And second, you will learn how to prioritize tasks effectively because, as you will see, not all tasks are equally important. So you will discover frameworks that make it clear what to focus on first. Third, we will discover together digital tools for organizing your work. I will introduce some practical tools for both individual and group projects. And finally, we will also see how planning supports teamwork because planning and being able to plan your task doesn't only improve your work, but it's also an essential thing for collaboration and achieving group goals. So each of these objectives will be covered in high level terms today, but more details on the platform. So make sure to register to this platform. And these I'm about to share with you aren't just theories, they are strategies that can be practiced every day, and they will give you useful techniques that you can really apply in anything, any kind of project of your life, not only professional, but also like personal. I also want to highlight before starting that planning is also highly personal. So what works for me might not work for you, but the principles and the techniques that we are discussing are very flexible and can be adapted to your own needs. So why does planning, why is it doesn't, okay, perfect. Before starting, I want to do a quick poll to see where we are at when it comes to planning. So if you can please scan the QR code that you see on the screen, it will take you to a Slido activity. And basically you have to choose one of the answers that you will see to this question. What do you struggle with the most when it comes to managing your work or time? If you all have the QR code, I will share also the Slido screen, if you can all see it. Hopefully it works, but it seems like I'm not having luck with my computer today, but hopefully, okay. I see that someone is already answering, prioritizing tasks we have. I will give you 1-2 minutes. Staying focused. Yeah, that's honestly a huge thing. I personally would answer staying focused too, because I really have trouble if I have a long task and a long thing that I have to accomplish. I have a lot of troubles of just staying there to my desk and just stay focused on what I'm doing. So I would say staying focused too is a big thing for me too, but also prioritizing.
Can you please share the link, please?
Yeah. You can go to Slido because I am not able to share the link, but you can go to slido.com and put the code that you see on the screen, which is 4076937. You managed to get in? Okay. I mean, I will leave the poll open so that you can keep answering, but what seems to be right now is that staying focused is the most answered answer. So I feel like many of us are dealing with this thing, and that's completely normal. And it shows how we are not alone in this. And planning is not about being perfect, but it's about learning what works best for us in order to solve these issues. So I will go back to the presentation, but I will leave the poll open so that you can keep answering. And why does planning matter? Because I've mentioned it so many times, but I didn't tell you why it really matters. Studies show poor time management as a top source of stress for young adults, especially when transitioning from school to work or when starting a new project, a new life project. So planning, and here's a big truth about planning, it is not about being busy, but it's rather about being effective. And I feel like Stephen Covey said it best, and I put his quotation on this PowerPoint presentation. He says, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Because without a system of planning, everything feels urgent. And this is exactly what causes stress and procrastination. And I myself, I am guilty of procrastination. So I want to do a quick reflection. I want for all of you to think about yourself last week in your job, at school, on your task. Did you rush from task to task, or did you feel in control? Take 10 seconds and try to think and notice how planning could have made the difference in your organization last week. I will share a personal example because, for instance, last week I had 3 important deadlines all on the same day. And without effective planning, at first I was running between emails, other meetings. I was focusing on tasks that were not very important at that moment. And I was feeling very overwhelmed. So what I did was to stop, to take a deep breath. I took a piece of paper and I wrote down the 3 priorities and the 3 deadlines that I had. And just the simple act of putting everything on a piece of paper and breathing and relaxing really gave me clarity and calm to really finish with the tasks that I had. So, and one of the tools that I used to do so, and honestly, one of the best tools, in my opinion, for planning, was and is the Eisenhower matrix. And basically, this tool really helps you decide what's really important, and what's just urgent and what just seems urgent. So basically, as you can see from the picture that I put on the slide, the matrix is useful because it splits tasks into 4 different categories that match with different quadrants of the matrix. For instance, you see quadrant 1 is for the tasks that are urgent and important, so the things that you should do right now, top priority, like for instance, a project deadline. Then the second quadrant refers to tasks that are important but not urgent. And the suggestion for this task is to plan them. So, for instance, like learning a new skill is not something that it's urgent to do in this moment, so plan it for later. The third quadrant refers to tasks that are urgent but not important. So you should really consider delegating these tasks, especially if you're working in a team. This is more easy to do. And then we have the last quadrant, the fourth one, where the tasks that are neither urgent nor important go. And basically, these just have to be deleted, eliminated. So the simple exercise of being able to place your task into this grid really helps you see where your time is going and where the time should really go. Another very useful technique to fight, especially procrastination, which is something that most of us is dealing with, is the so-called Pomodoro technique. And it is very simple because it has 3 steps that are always repeating up until a certain moment. So you basically start with being focused and work for 25 minutes without distraction. So full immersion on your task. Then you take a 5 minutes break and you repeat this cycle for 4 times. Focused on work, 5 minutes break. 25 work, 5 minutes break. And after this 4 cycle, you take a longer break, which should be between 15 to 20 minutes. This is a very useful method that mostly helps you start. And honestly, starting is one of the hardest parts. So this is very useful. And as I anticipated earlier in his book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey reminds us that time planning, it's not about control, it's rather about alignment. And here I selected for you 3 habits. The 3 habits I believe it is fundamental that we build and we start building starting from today. First and foremost, the one of planning weekly and not just daily, because planning weekly helps you have the big picture and avoid last-minute stress. Second, always start with purpose. You always have to know why each task matters. Why are you doing what you're doing? And the third thing I selected, and I think it's also connected to the second one, is always align tasks with objectives. So daily tasks should always contribute to your personal or professional bigger goals, the big picture, let's say. And planning is not about having rigid schedules, it's rather about giving your time direction. And regarding instruments and digital instruments that we can use for proper time management, I selected for you Trello and Notion because honestly, I believe they can truly simplify your life, and especially when you're dealing with a lot of things at the same time. On one side, we have Trello, which is very useful because it uses boards and cards. And in Trello, you're able to create a list of your tasks and move them from to do, doing, and done, depending on the status of the activity you're doing. And it's very visual. And honestly, just seeing the card moving from doing to done, it is very motivating, in my opinion. On the other hand, Notion is very flexible and includes notes, calendars, roadmaps, personal goals, all in the same place. And I think that Notion is very good for you if you like everything in the same place and everything connected and organized in the same place. You will, of course, work more with these tools in the online module in the digital learning platform. And you will also practice using these tools for real life projects. And also you will be given some step-to-step tutorials, video tutorials to learn how to use them. But overall, I would say that my tip with these digital planning tools is to start simple. You don't need to use every feature of every tool at once. You just have to pick a project, pick one of the features, and try to set it up. You will immediately see how much time you're actually saving with the support of digital tools. Honestly, they saved my life in many occasions. And we're almost coming to an end. One last thing before closing. Now, on the platform, I have to be honest, this topic, the topic of team planning, is offered as an optional lesson, but I really think it's worth exploring because it's very, very useful to understand and to learn how to plan, but in a group, in a team. It's planning is for sure a team skill, and high-performing teams don't just work harder, they work smarter in the sense of planning. And of course, planning as a team may seem a little extra work at first, but actually the payoff is huge because you save time, is understandings. Everyone is also able to contribute more efficiently because, as a matter of fact, successful teams use planning to define clear roles and responsibilities. Each one knows what it's doing for the team. Then also, good team planning includes open communication because issues are always raised early before they become actual problems. And a good team planning also includes a shared timeline because everyone is aligned on the key milestones. So you see, it is optional, but I believe that is very, very useful for all of us to understand also a little more on time planning. And before I leave the floor to my colleagues for all the technicalities of the platform, and of course to all of you if you have any questions, I want to wrap up very quickly what we've covered so far and the main takeaways. First, planning reduces stress and procrastination. Second, we have amazing tools like the Eisenhower matrix and the Pomodoro technique that can help us focus for real. And also about the Pomodoro technique, there are a lot of websites that offer free Pomodoro timers, so it is also very accessible too. And third, digital tools like Trello and Notion gave structure and visibility to our task and to our goals. And finally, the fourth one is that team planning is about communication and proper organization, not just delegation. And one last thing I want to emphasize before going is that all of these techniques, as you will also find out, they're very interconnected and they work best together. For instance, you can use the Eisenhower matrix to identify and prioritize tasks and then log them into Trello or Notion to track progress on these tasks. Also, you can choose one of these tasks that you have listed on your Trello and combine it with Pomodoro sessions in order to be more focused and to finish faster on that task. So you see that digital tools are very, very useful to stay organized, and you really have to take advantage of the technologies that we have available right now. So what's next? You will dive deeper into all of these topics in the digital platform, where you will also find, of course, the videos of explanation, but you will also find practical exercise to make you practice all these techniques. And I want to thank you for your attention, and I'm sorry for the technical problems that I had at the beginning, but hopefully you saw the presentation, and thanks a lot. I will stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'm back.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Zoe and Anita too.
Thank you. Thank you. So before closing the call, we still have some time. So I will tell it again. Also, my colleagues have remarked it. But if you haven't registered yet into the platform, please do it. And you have also some time now. It's a very quick process. We have Anita here that can help if you are having some problems. I remind you that you have time until the 9th of December to register and go through the self-paced material. So we still have some weeks, but time goes fast. So also this is our last live session. So again, if you are facing some problems, we are here to help you and we can do it in real time. So if you have questions or any difficulty with the platform, you can open your mic or write in the chat. I see that Milagros share it in the chat. I will send again the link to the YouTube channel where you can find all the previous live sessions. So in case you weren't able to follow, go and watch them there. And yeah, so if you have any questions, please ask them now. And thank you again.
I've seen just a question in the chat. How do I get the certificate? When registering on the website, it shows that there is no registered training or course name. If you want, I can just quickly guide you through the website again. So if you click here on Academy, which is the link I send you, you would have to log in or sign up. If you haven't signed up already, you need to fill all this. You will receive some follow-up emails that will ask you to verify your account by clicking on a link. Once you have clicked on that link, you will be guided again back onto the website. And then once you log in, you will be able to see all these 4 courses. For you to get the certification, you would have to complete all the lessons and all the modules in each of the 4 courses. That's the only way to receive the certification. If you have completed all the 4 programs, I think in the following week you will be able to generate your certification. So if you have watched, of course, all the courses or the lessons and it shows that you have completed them, in the following week you should be able to gain the certification. And we don't have a specific deadline for this. You just need to watch it before the next step, which is the internship with the companies. If for those who will be interested in participating in that.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I just want to take the time to thank you all for this incredible journey, starting with, our emotions and our feeling, ending up how to plan for what is coming. So thank you so much for your effort and for your support and looking forward for what is coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you for attending. It's a pleasure having you here. We also have a raised hand. Please can go ahead and speak if you want.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I would like to thank you all for the sessions, all the sessions, especially the emotional management one, because it helped me a lot. I used to panic a lot and get anxious. However, after following the techniques, it helped me a lot. So thank you guys.
Thank you for attending and for the colleagues for helping everything so much. You do not, I'm gonna address some comments in the message section. You do not need to register for the certification. There's nothing to register for. Once you have completed all the courses by the end of the month, you will be receiving the certification. So you don't need to do any further steps if you have already completed them. If you still have any questions, please, regarding the platform or of course anything else, you can feel free to send me an email, which I already provided in the chat. So on the platform, you will be able for each of the courses and the modules to find the live session presentations. So they're listed as live session, and then you do have additional material, which is more presentations on the topic and also some videos that is basically the presentation with an avatar speaking. You have also additional material which explains more in depth what the presentation says, and you also have a small quiz at the end of the lessons, and you also have additional materials that are different tools that the partners thought would be helpful in adding more details and information on each of the modules. So guys, we're finished for today. If we don't have, I don't know if anyone wants to add something from my colleagues regarding the sessions. This was again the last live session we have. All the material is on the platform. You need to complete them, all the modules to be able to get the certification. The certification will be given to you once you have completed them. You need to take no further steps. So in the following weeks, you will receive the certification. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. In the meantime, again, thank you everyone for attending and for being on this journey with us. I'm sorry, do you mean the link for the course?
I mean your LinkedIn account. Can you all share your LinkedIn account with us?
Yeah, of course we can share that. Thank you, Fatima. Goodbye.
So, as we've come to the end of the final session, I want to thank you all. Thank you, Christina, Zoe, Anita, for your magnificent presentation and explanation. Thank you all for your insights, your time, your commitment throughout this journey. It was truly an honor and a pleasure hosting the final session. I hope you're all leaving with the feeling of empowerment and readiness to put your learning into practice and into action. Good luck, everyone, and thank you all.